Okay, well, when he was floating in outer space,
you-know
hole punch through his body, guts, eyeball hanging out. I'm like, he's dead, and yet he wasn't. So what's a little life monitor, or whatever, gonna do?
What's a monitor even doing for a Unopin?
Yeah, exactly.
I don't think it's the last we've seen of Go.
Yeah. Hello and welcome back to the Breakroom. Invincible episode 3 starts off super horny and ends with a huge cliffhanger.
What a climax.
What the heck is Omni-Man doing hanging out with bugs? Doesn't he hate bugs? I hate him. We'll get into all that. I'm Brandon Barrick. Joining me today, he only eats food that can put up a fight. It's Coy Jandreau.
Chicken better be big because those ducks are.
And he's always been a big fan of Magnum Pie. It's Tom Michelsen.
That's true. I always eat 3.14 slices and then some. So yeah, thank you. That's very true.
And they're big
That
slices.
was a really
Magnum pie.
Magnum Pie. I almost didn't even catch that in the episode. So
I was fixated on the posters on his wall.
I didn't.
I was like, Magnum Pie.
I'm glad I caught
That's
that.
such a
Magnum
good
Pie.
pun. It's a really strong background.
Also, they're like BTS poster that's DTF.
Oh, that's clever.
Still true.
In this episode, too.
This episode was horny.
The Ryan Otley art always has that in the background. Like, if you read the Invincible comics, there's always, like, little inside horny jokes, and I'm like, the show got it.
It really reminded me, too, of, like, Into the Spider-Verse, Across the Spider-Verse, when, like, you know, they're...
Universe is a little different, or
Times Square has like posters for different movies and stuff like that.
Yeah, like
Very
alternate
cute.
universe jokes.
Yeah,
That's for
very
us.
cute. We
Also,
love
Seth
it.
Rogen. He's in the first Spider-Verse movie.
Yeah, that's
He's
true.
the shared Nexus being here. It's Seth Rogen.
He might just be, especially
Producer of The Boys.
producer of The Boys and Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
Yep.
Mayhem, like it's all connected.
I've said it before. He's the Kevin Feige of TV comics, man.
Yeah.
He is so slept on as a producer. If you look at quality TV entertainment, long form, and comic books, it's Seth Rogen.
It is. Seth Rogen, come on the show, you coward. Also, bring me some of your weed products. They're too expensive to purchase. We can leave that. I don't know. Well, after episode 3, we've only got one more episode left of this show until the second half drops next year. So we're in season 2, part 1. They don't have a drop date yet for season 2, or sorry, for part 2 of season 2. We can hope it's in January, but I don't know. Q1? Let's pray for Q1. Yeah. What's everyone thinking of the season so far? Is it going well? Do you like this season more than the last one? Let us know in the comments below. What do you guys think of the season so far?
Wish I had more hands so I could give the season 4 thumbs up.
Oh!
I'm liking it. I'm liking it a lot, actually. It's, I haven't read the comics. I know a lot about what happened, so it's been fun to kind of figure out what's going on. And it's one of those few shows. I was telling Evan a little bit earlier. Like, I usually do read everything before it comes out, but I'm enjoying the watch of this so much. I was like, I have like an unopened Invincible ready to read it. I'm like, I think I kind of want to just see what happens for once, because in all this stuff, Marvel, we all love the comics, we all read that beforehand, and the movies are not as much of a surprise as they can always be. So it's been interesting to actually get to enjoy it kind of cold. So I'm loving it.
It is nice to find a property that you're not so like invested in, so you can find the investment in the medium they're presenting you.
Exactly.
And I think the show does a good job following the tone and following some elements of the book to a T, and then letting other elements be like the chronology is different. When you'll see when you read it, the thing that happened this week to Alan is different. Like there's certain elements that do
like details that are like,
the audience gets to be like, oh, even if you've read the comic.
Yeah.
I personally think this is one of the shows that shows that TV is better suited for some stories in comics. Like this would not work as a 2-hour movie. I think it can work in addition to stuff, but this long form serialized content, I also think it's so bloody. I don't know if a lot of studios would mess with it live action. I think that the brutality of it is actually more brutal animated. So I think this format is perfect.
Yeah.
I'm a little more season 1 heavy because I remember it as such like a surprise, and that's not season 2's fault. I just remember being gobsmacked by the quality. I remember just being like, out of nowhere, Invincible's like the best thing.
Like you weren't expecting it.
Yeah, I was like, this will be good. Not like I'm riveted. And it's keeping up with the riveted. It's just, I know it's good. So I'm a little more season 1, but this episode is far and away my favorite episode of season 2.
Yeah, this is very fun.
Yeah.
And this is like right there with season 1 for me. So I could easily see the cliffhanger putting me at that edge where like Stranger Things, I like the season 4 experience because it's like watch and then wait. And I think that's better for certain content. So I'm really excited for next week.
They're gonna run out of A-list actors to do voices at some point, right? That's the thing that like season 1, you're always surprised, like, oh, it's that guy, it's that person. But now you just expect every voice to
Daniel
be
Day-Lewis comes out of retirement.
Dude, don't get
DDL Invincible season 2.
Amazon in their animated series, they're really good about that. The Boys Diabolical has a bunch of big names who even wrote episodes of that show and did the voices. Crazy stuff. Let us know in the comments what you think of the show so far. I'm loving it too. Also, what are you going to watch as we get into the holidays? Any shows we should be checking out and talking about? Let us know. Put your thoughts in the comments below. Let's do a quick recap of episode 3 of Invincible. Our dear Debbie drops Mark off at college, and it's hard letting your baby bird leave the nest. It's tough. It's tough for parents everywhere, especially parents whose spouses turn out to be interplanetary genocidal maniacs. That's always tough. That's always tough. She cries in her car and decides to call the number on that mysterious card that Olga gave her with the Morse code that spells out SOS. The woman on the other end of the phone reminds Debbie that they don't do last names over the phone. Very intrigued.
Dun, dun, dun.
I'm scared. Mark gets grief from Will for bringing his Seance Dog poster and action figures to college, but because Amber's got the dorm room all to herself, he still gets laid, baby.
Heyo.
That's all part of growing up, folks. It's all part of growing up. And much like Gen V, consent. Big deal. You love to see it. You love to see it, especially in college. A new voice pops in as a narrator and takes us away from Amber's dorm to space, where we're going to get a, quote, missive, a machination, an episode within an episode. Very intriguing, very fun, very playful. I wonder if this voice will ever come back. We'll see. We'll see.
I thought it was really inventive to use that, again, the medium being a strength, like the way they're manipulating the audience that way.
Yeah.
I also love that they use the word invincible as such like an impact, and this episode had an Alan the Alien episode.
Yeah, they always play with like the title card, right?
So the title card of this episode is great because I think everyone loves Alan. I love that it's a horny cut. And like they literally cut from a horniness with the character we know to like a horny Alan the Alien, and then this is where it veers a little away from the comics. And I didn't know how it was gonna go. I do think we get more Alan, but we'll talk about that in a minute. But I do like that they're playing with expectation. I do feel like this was almost like when you're reading a comic book miniseries, and then there's a one shot that's in another title, and it's like, oh, check in here. Right. I also think, well, let's just say there's a reason I'm wearing this shirt.
Oh, okay. Okay.
So we get the story of the Unopans, an alien species who lived in harmony until they were invaded by the Voltrumites, who defeated their resistance effort. Now, Thetis, the leader of the Coalition of Planets, invited the surviving Unopans to the planet Telestria to join the Coalition and stand up against the Voltrumite scourge. Now, the Council and the Unopans experiment on making the Unopan baby strong enough to battle the Voltrumites, and they get the closest with the creation of Alan the Alien, our precious baby Seth Rogen.
So cute.
But after being unable to defeat the Voltrumites, he became a planetary evaluation officer scouting for the species strong enough to take on the Voltrumites, which I think is a great use of the character and an inventive use of Seth Rogen.
Yeah, I love it. We cut to the present. Alan the Alien tells Thetis and the Coalition of Planets Council about Mark Grayson. The Council is wary, but Thetis tells them that they can use Mark against the Voltrumites. He privately tells Alan that there may be a mole on the Council and that Alan should suss them out. Watch your fucking back, Alan! 3 Viltrumites ambush Alan and ask about the Viltrumite of Earth. We know that guy. He refuses to tell them anything. What a guy. And they beat him nearly to death for it. They pop out his one eye. Oh, it's brutal. While the diners just watch and keep eating their very alive food. While Alan recovers, his girlfriend, General Telia, watches over him and is relieved by Thetis, who's like, no, I got it. Watch, you go get a snack. I'll take care of Alan. No, he won't, because the music turns ominous as Thetis turns off Alan's life support machine and asks Alan for forgiveness as he flatlines. This better not be the end of Alan. I will be so angry. What in the world is going on? We'll get to that in a bit.
Yeah, how could Optimus Prime do that?
I know, Optimus!
Right, it's like a double, it's like a stab in the back and a stab in the heart to see Optimus pull something like that. As the credits start rolling, we go to the Guardians of the Globe gym where Duplicate is doing some super reps and Rex tells her that she connected with Immortal because they both died several times, which is a big thing I never even thought about, actually.
Yeah, she did the math.
She did the death math. She's like, the death math works out in that instance. They watch Shapesmith go to the gym and do treadmill a little bit weird, which is actually what I do. too. So I'm wondering, is that why I don't get any results? That's probably why. Yeah, that's how I run. That's how I run on the treadmill. Rudy is now conquering his fears via big, giant brain projection using meditation, kind of like Aldrin Killian style. He asks Monster Girl to a date, and she says yes. They go to see a movie, they get burgers, it seems like a great time. Well, then Debbie arrives at the meeting of the Spouses of Superhero Support Group, and this is the number that Debbie called earlier. She later joins one of the members at the bar where she finds out that he was the Green Ghost's romantic partner and one of Omni-Man's victims.
Tough stuff.
Very tough. But once Debbie tells him that her husband is Omni-Man, he tells her not to come back to the group and that she should have known he was a monster. I think that's kind of messed up.
I mean, as she's saying it, I was like, do not tell this man.
This is not the time or place. Do not open up.
Also,
Olga should have known if that's how
Olga walked her into this.
Yeah,
I don't trust
Olga put her
Olga
in
at
a
all.
spot.
I don't know.
Yeah.
So a real-life seance dog appears at Mark and Will's dorm, which is wild. Mark flies him away from campus because that's what you should do in this scenario. Seance dog is actually Nulzat, a Thraxan alien that looks like a humanoid ant with like weird arms and backwards knees. I don't trust these bug people. He heard about Mark's powers and wants Mark to save his planet from a meteor shower. Adorable. Will convinces Mark to go. He's like, no, you should go do this. I think Mark is right to be sus of this. Like, hey, if these bugs are dying, you gotta go save them.
Right.
Didn't Starship Troopers teach us anything? Don't go to the bug planets. It's a bug planet. Invincible arrives on Thraxa, and Nulzat takes him to the Monarch, which sounds like a leader of a bug place. Invincible asks about the meteors because there's no clear and present danger going on. And when they get to the throne, Omni-Man is there to welcome a very surprised Marky Mark. Oh,
Dun,
gosh.
Feel it. Feel the vibrations.
I didn't think we'd see him so soon.
I thought it'd be an episode 4
I was
cliffhanger.
shocked. Yeah.
Pacing wise.
I thought especially when they split it up in 2 parts, I was like, we'll see him at the very end.
But now it's clever because I think we get a whole episode of like, okay, where's he been? What's he been up to? But also, it's going to end on an even bigger cliffhanger knowing he's coming back. Like, I think that was a clever...
Right.
I'm intrigued.
So let's start with our biggest question from this episode. What is Omni-Man doing here, okay? We had this fun little fake out of an episode where we're like, oh, we're going to get an out on the alien story.
Yeah.
We get it. It's brutal. And then it ends, and you're like, oh, I guess we're going back?
Yeah.
And
because it was like the regular
we still get a whole
runtime
ass episode. Yeah.
I love that the episode is like 49 minutes because it felt like 20. It felt like a
felt
regular
like
episode of TV.
Yeah.
That our Invincible section was like the after credit scene of the
Alan movie. Yeah.
So we see Omni-Man. He's on Thraxa, and he seems to be in charge. He's the monarch or whatever, but he doesn't look like he's like destroyed this planet. Everyone looks cool. Everyone looks very chill. Did he conquer this planet? Is there a side of it we haven't seen where he's like killed everybody and everyone agreed? Is he a new guy? Now is he like, hey, they democratically elected me and I'm cool with it?
I was gonna say he seemed pretty nice to his son after beating him like an instant death. Yeah, like the last time they saw each other, he's like, "Hey, Mark, thanks for coming." And
I mean,
like,
we don't know their customs.
That's true.
Right. Well, and isn't
isn't
this just like a parent with narcissistic personality disorder to be like, I never beat you up?
Yeah.
What are you talking about?
Me?
That never happens. That never happens.
That happen?
Now, remind me, it's been like a month since the end of season 1, right?
Yeah,
it's been about a month.
Yeah.
So this man has managed to get to a new planet
that took 6 days in a spaceship.
Right, 6 days in a spaceship that's going fast. We'll assume the speed of light.
Yeah. Because we can assume that they would need a ship to be faster than even Viltrumites can travel. So very far.
It's not in our solar system, right?
Right.
And we know. He says.
Obviously.
It takes several light years to get out of our solar system.
So Omni-Man's probably only been there about 30 minutes, you're saying. He just got there.
Yes, right?
Like,
it's been a month.
by the way.
Hey,
because Omni-Man just
don't worry about me.
And this is like a plot hole that was in the Marvels, where like, how does Carol get across the universe so fast? Like, how fast can he fly? I don't know. So he's on this new
black
planet.
holes.
Yeah. Oh, that's true. He
The
could have taken
hammer
a
opens
wormhole.
stuff.
Yeah, maybe he knows how to travel, and he would know how to travel interdimensionally most efficiently.
Yeah. Maybe he grabbed onto a ship like a skateboarder
or he
in New York
hijacked
City.
some other spaceship and made them drive him.
Right.
We know that he does what he wants to get what he wants. Like when he went to that other time dilation planet in season 1 and like
that's true.
decimated them and what it was probably like months or years in their end, but it was just like.
I mean, if I was a bug, I would just go like, all right. Like I feel like it was just like an acceptance of monarchy.
True.
I don't think there was any fight.
Well, right when Nulzat showed up, he takes on this appearance of Seance Dog because he's like, hey, I thought this would make you
Which
feel
I'm
more
so
comfortable.
bummed about that fake out. I was like, Seance Dog is real.
I know.
That's
Well,
so
'cause,
cool.
Yeah, Seance Dog is the take on Science Dog from the Invincible comic, which they eventually, they didn't use him on the show, mainly because they don't have the rights to it.
Sure.
Because, like, they made a separate line of Science Dog comic books. And also, I think, like, Kirkman was like, I'm not going to give Amazon every character.
Yeah.
So this
Seance Dog is so funny.
It's like a Doctor
Yeah,
Strange.
the Doctor
exactly.
Strange. I think it's more tongue-in-cheek towards the comics media, much like The Boys is able to manipulate which things they're poking at.
Yeah.
Like, I think it's clever to make VOT so clearly Amazon when you're on Amazon.
Right.
I think to make a comic book show to go Seance Dog is way funnier towards comic audiences.
Yes. And well, it's like Nozzle didn't look around and go like, well, I don't see any other anthropomorphic dogs. I guess I'll choose this form.
Yeah.
Because it'll comfort him.
I was
But
going
he's
to say,
like,
how did he choose that? Because he
He
just
might
saw
have
his
been
box
watching
and
when he
stuff.
pulled out the toy. Like, that was the icon of
Yeah,
like,
I was
let's
going
say
to
he's
say,
him.
what if he appeared as a giant sock? And he's like, I just wanted to be something you cared
trying to be
about.
comforting.
I just thought you would care so much
see the
about
joke
this.
making you.
a sock joke? Oh, God. I saw what you did to that sock, Mark.
Exactly.
You seem to love it
I know
very
how
much.
much you love this
This
sock.
is a very horny episode. That sock is not clean.
So when they pulled Seance Dog away under the rug away from me, I got mad. I was like, should have been a sock. Should have been a
real
sock.
crunchy.
Maybe Nolan was like, yeah, pure Seance Dog.
Yeah,
That'll
was
make him
Nolan
chill.
like, hey, Bug, go be Seance
Be
Dog.
Seance
Trust me,
Dog.
he'll be all about it. Because he has that poster in his room.
That is one of my favorite, like, weird inside jokes from the comic that landed way better than I would have expected it to. Because, like, Science Dog is its own weirdness. This landed really well for how odd it is. And that's the fun of Invincible, is it's creator-owned. They can do the weirdest stuff. And I'm really enjoying this. This season is capturing the scope. Obviously, the first one did too. Like, the world of Invincible is so enormous. Like, it's 3 omnibuses. Like, this comic is 158 issues. It's enormous. And it's split into 3. The books hurt when they fall on your face if you're reading them tired. Not that I know.
Oh, that's always the worst.
But yeah, when you're just like, but the scope of the world I'm really impressed by, because it felt long to get to that planet. Like,
Yeah.
the 6 days actually felt, and then the interdimensional stuff, it does feel like Sterling K. Brown is popping in and out of different versions of himself and growing this intelligence.
Yeah.
And it's not easy to accomplish that, I think, narratively in animation.
They're very efficient with
Yeah.
their storytelling on this show.
Because that world felt so far. I remember, like, I was like, this does seem like Omni-Man got somewhere.
Yeah. I hope that spaceship had like a toilet. I don't know what the Thraxans
they go.
go.
A
Do they make
urination
cocoon?
chamber.
I don't know.
Yeah, as
I don't know. That would be
Shakespeare
awkward.
says, yeah.
But there must be a reason, right? Like, Omni-Man could have, if he wants to just talk to Mark, right? He could have just gone back to Earth and been up in space.
Yeah.
And Mark would have flown up there and been like, "What are you doing here?" Right? But like, he must need him for something. But I can't imagine what Omni-Man needs Mark for. And again, I haven't read the comics. I don't want to be too spoiler
And I'm
about it.
gonna
We won't
opt out
spoil
of this
too much.
section.
Yeah.
We won't spoil too much here. But like, it's clearly he's up to something.
Right.
He has this elaborate ruse to bring Mark there. I mean, it might just be to fuck with Mark's head.
Well, yeah, I was even thinking,
I don't
like,
know.
again, as someone who didn't read the comics, I was even thinking, like, we saw, Omni-Man kind of, like, breaking down his, like, Viltrumite Stone Cold armor, like, in the first season when he was fighting Mark. He didn't want to do this. He wanted his son
Yeah,
to be
he has, like,
with
a
him. He does have
panic
love
attack, right?
for his son.
Yeah.
And even though it's a really effed up version, he has love for his wife, too, but even though he thinks of her as a pet. But, like, he cares about them in his own weird way. So maybe, and Mark got through. He definitely got through in season 1 and in some way with Omni-Man leaving. So, maybe this is his way of trying to get Mark back and get his son back.
Yeah.
Well, in the same way that the Alan the Alien story is a tweak on the comic, there is an element they've played with here. Like, the Thraxan planet is a part of the comic, but they play with, like, age and they play with time, like, in a very different way. Like, it's, if I remember correctly, it's the oldest gets to be ruler. So his mention of, like, I spent most of my life getting here is very, like, bugs have a short lifespan, and the comic's able to play with different species having things you'd expect or things you wouldn't expect out of their, like, how they look. So, like, the bugs don't live long. So 6 days is most of that character's life. So to go there and back, however long. So whoever's oldest gets to be crowned king. So I kind of like the efficiency of this working, but also for comic fans not having everything filled in for them. But I do think we're going to see the reason why be the same, but I think the twist at the end of episode 4 for comic fans is going to be a surprise.
Okay. Yeah, it's clear. I don't trust Omni-Man at all. I don't think he would change his mind. I think because again, he lives for so long. The idea that in a quick amount of time he could really change who he is. I don't know. I mean, he lived on Earth for a while, but not even that long to him.
Right.
But he does clearly care about Mark, and there must be something about like, this is my son. He didn't kill him. He pulled his punch at the very end when he was like, I'll still have you. And he flies away, and it's like he's probably had like, this is his midlife crisis.
Yeah.
So before
his
I
10,000 year midlife crisis.
Before you said that, Coy, I was thinking that maybe this was a conquered Viltrumite planet, and he was trying to be like, Mark, look, it's fine. Like,
Oh,
it's not,
that's a good one.
It's not even that bad. Look, they want me here. I thought it was going to be
they're
something
part
like
of the
that.
system
Yeah,
already?
they're part of the
Yeah.
system, and look, like they're happy. Like once we break the horse, so to speak, everything will be fine. So just bend the knee, and we'll,
This is tough.
Yeah, and it'll be fine on Earth too. I thought it might have been something.
I don't think that's not an option with the storyline.
Okay.
Yeah. Because that would be, it's like, I don't want to say it. I was going to say something about Cotter, but we don't need to get into all of it. But like, the idea that like, the ends justify the means, right? If it is a planet that's like peaceful and like, hey, everything's great here now. Now, 1,000 years ago, we killed everybody and it was tough, but now everything's fine. Like,
also,
does that make it okay? I don't know.
Like the what's a king to a god? What's a god to a non-believer?
Right.
If you've got the moment where you find out these things only live a certain number of days and you're immortal even to human standards, how important can those directions be? So how hard would it be to conquer if that's a blink of an eye?
Yeah.
And what would that mean to Mark? Because Mark is actually altruistic, but what would that mean to omni-man? What would that like world be?
Right.
I don't trust him. I don't trust him at all. Coy, since you're the knower of all things, why don't you give our folks at home, we don't want to spoil anything, give them a one-word tease about what might be coming in the final episode of part 1 of season 2.
In English, please.
I believe from where it is, one word,
Okay.
brutality.
Oh, well, I could have
Brutality?
guessed that.
No, but like
word.
if you thought 3 was brutal.
No, that's what I'm saying. I already feel like the show's brutal, so I'm like,
Yeah.
still?
Yeah, no, I'm saying if it's only one word, take that as you will, but in more brutality, like an escalation. An escalation is my other word.
That
Escalation
sock gets
brutality.
destroyed.
Yeah, that sock is.
God,
Boy, oh boy, that sock's seen some stuff.
I did love that Will was like, I just left the sock on the door. I wasn't hooking up with anybody.
Yeah,
It's
once
like,
I forgot.
I just forgot
the system is already corrupted.
Immediately
day
flawed,
one.
day one.
But hey, it worked out well for Mark. Hey, we want to do a quick shout out and thank you to Baksu for sponsoring today's episode of The Breakroom. Baksu is a premium Japanese snack box that works with family businesses all over Japan to deliver a new theme of authentic Japanese snacks every month. And beyond the snacks, each Baksu comes with a booklet that teaches you all about the theme and where the snacks come from, so you have a deeper appreciation for what it is you're munching on. The first box of any Baksu subscription is Seasons of Japan. And after that, you receive a new theme every month with curated snacks that are seasonal, delicious. Baksu makes a great gift for any foodie you know. If you want to give the gift of authentic Japanese snacks and support our channel, click the link in the description and use code Rockstars to get $15 off your first Baksu order. Hey, check out nerdriot.shop for a ton of great merch options to celebrate some of the recent Marvel releases. I mean, guys, we got a brand new Loki shirt that's on there to celebrate the finale, our God of Stories. I don't even have it in person. That's how new this shirt is. But we have other Loki shirts. Still, it's never too late to pick up an OB shirt. And spoiler alert, we are all going to die at some point.
True.
Wear the shirt and show it off. That's not surprising, Evan. People know that. Also, this Marvel shirt. Oh, there's the back. There's the front.
Oh, there's the back, though.
I
That's
love
cool.
that it goes through you, like the Flurkins are.
Whatever you
Yes.
thought of the Marvels movie, we all love the Flurkins. Come on. Come on.
Look at that
They're
Flurkin shirt.
adorable. Look at that Flurkin
So
shirt.
Flurkin cute.
The holidays are upon us. I think there's gonna be like some sales as we get close to Black Friday. But check out nerdriot.shop. If you get some merch from there, it's a great way to support the Breakroom. So either click the link in the description below or head on over to nerdriot.shop. Get ready for the holidays. Put on your favorite nerdy fandom. Make your uncle at the Thanksgiving dinner table be like, "What the hell is that shirt? Why won't you wear a button down? This is your grandma's last Thanksgiving. What are you doing?" Have a lot of fun conversation this year at Thanksgiving. See what your uncle thought of the Marvels. Maybe he enjoyed it. Who knows? Check
he
it all
wants a
out
shirt.
at nerdriot.shop. Yeah, get your uncle a shirt.
Yeah.
He loves it. He loves it. All right, let's do some more questions that we had from this episode. What's gonna happen to Alan? Is he gonna die?
Dead? I think.
Is that implied death?
Okay, well, when he was floating
He's
in
the
outer
strongest
space,
you know.
hole punch through his body, guts, eyeball hanging out. I'm like, he's dead.
I thought he was dead.
And then
in
he
space.
wasn't.
He got
Yeah.
the Viltrumite judo chop,
Yeah.
and he was still.
And yet
he wasn't. So what's a little life monitor or whatever gonna
Yeah,
do?
what's a monitor even doing for a Utopia?
Yeah.
Exactly.
I don't think it's the last we've seen of Go.
Yeah.
Good old
This,
Alan.
I don't think so either.
Yeah,
and so
it can't be.
I feel comfortable.
Why make him survive if
Yeah. I think he'll be back. I think it's kind of like if we go comic book rules, Sabretooth, Wolverine style. You got to take the head fully off. Even then, that doesn't
even
do
then,
it
Immortal
the
doesn't
Immortal
even work for Immortal,
didn't
yeah.
die. But I don't think it's just too bad to say. Like in the comics, Alan recovers from his injuries after months of healing, ultimately becoming nearly as strong as a Viltrumite in the process of that healing.
Dope.
Now, I don't think he's dead, because I think they would have to show it more. They'd have to have a funeral. I think he'd have to be like 2 months later, show his girlfriend crying
The
and go
one-eyed
into a
bandage
meeting.
is so
the
funny.
one-eyed
Yeah, yeah.
bandage. Yeah.
But again,
Great
they would have to
stuff.
show like more than just like I agree.
Right. Now,
Unless Seth Rogen's busy.
now, Thetis being like the mole who asked, what was the point? What was the point of Thetis being like, hey, I think there's a mole?
To see if Alan's worthy. Like I think to see if Alan could suss something out. Also, maybe to throw him off the set that he was the guy.
Maybe, yeah, I guess.
You don't
you're
trust
like,
the guy that hires you to find the mole to be the mole.
Yeah, this is like when you play werewolf, you gotta be the first person to accuse another person of
yeah,
being a
yeah,
werewolf,
werewolf rules.
right?
Yeah.
But then everyone thinks you're the werewolf because you were talking so much.
Andrew
I
Garfield.
hate werewolf. I do not like that game.
I like the creature, but the game.
But Alan's gotta come back. He can't be dead.
No.
I also like one of the beautiful things about Invincible is it's like that Rocky speech. Like it's not about how hard you hit; it's about how hard you get hit and get back up.
Right.
Like that's Invincible. So I imagine Alan will be a recurring parallel. So we have a mirror for that for Mark.
Yeah.
Like so we need that. So I think the brutality, which I think is escalating in the next episode, is going to show the way that moves forward. And I think Alan's kind of our piece of that. Because if you just see Mark get beat up every episode, a little boring. But if you see someone else get beat up and Mark get beat up, hey.
You see the whole universe is trying to deal with this problem. But
And the scope of how strong the Viltrumites are.
Yeah,
like, you
but-
need someone to be the punching bag.
that does make me think too, why do the Viltrumites let Telestria even exist? Can't they
Yeah.
just show up and wipe out Telestria?
I was thinking the same thing. I'm like, they know it's there, and they've easily had 2 or 3, sometimes one person
Right.
wipe out an entire planet. If they know that there's a rebel alliance, so to speak.
Yeah,
they
why
can
aren't they stop- this is
easily
the
take-
Terminator
why-
problem I
Why
have.
go to the restaurant and destroy Alan when you could easily just go and destroy the capital? Then again, I did notice that lion guy on the council, and he was the one who tore up Mark and everybody in season 1.
Beastman? Is that his
Beastman.
name?
Yeah, there's always escalating.
Beast.
There's always a
I'm
bigger
like,
fish.
For a split second, I was like, are they trying to say he's the mole? But I should have known it was obvious.
Right.
But yeah.
Yeah. I guess it's like a thing of you can't wipe out everything. You almost need there to be a resistance.
There's a lot of interesting political and Viltrumite stuff that there's a whole society, and it gets into that more and more.
Okay.
We live in a society.
Yeah,
They do.
I guess we have only seen the past of the Viltrumites. We haven't seen how they currently operate, who's calling the shots. We had these three.
I do like seeing that there's a lot of Viltrumite mustaches.
A lot of
mustaches.
That
And that carries on.
great. I was so glad to see
Those
that.
If
glasses.
that's what you enjoy, there's more.
Oh, that's the best part of being a Viltrumite.
You're gonna enjoy the comics once you're done.
Unbreakable mustache.
I like
when you
the
finish this and read,
yellow-tinted
yeah?
glasses.
Okay,
The yellow
great.
tinted glasses. Yeah, Alan can't be dead. Bring back Alan. Justice for Alan. Yeah, I don't know what. I assume that, Thetis he's the mole.
Yep.
He has Viltrumite vibes. Like, he looks like a dude that would be
He got
part
an
of the
epic mustache. Oh, it's a
Viltrumites.
beard, but he got
Yeah,
some
and also the fact
epic
that, like,
facial
he's
hair.
the leader. Like, Viltrumites want to be the leader all the time.
That's true.
I bet he probably is. It feels like a thing of, like, the Viltrumites allowed this to get set up by an inside man to kind of keep the machine moving, where it's like, if they're just totally wiping out everything, then no one would ever align with them.
Right.
But if it seems like you can exist and you could be in this or
It's either that or he's doing like a Lando thing where he's trying to save people
Right.
somehow by making a deal. Right?
or it's like, it's Palpatine. I'm
Yeah.
running both sides of this war.
Right.
Yeah,
Oh,
because
yeah.
it's all
You know?
profit.
Yeah, it's all
If you run
profit,
both sides,
baby.
it's all profit.
Yeah. What do the Viltrumites even want? Just constant expansion? Like, aren't they happy? Just be done.
no
with it.
traffic. Yeah. What
I guess they're done. I guess because they beat each other up to the point that they're like at a stalemate.
Well,
So
it's
they're
like
let's go
what's
beat
any
up other
conqueror
people.
want? Like
Yeah.
there's no end to the. You don't go like I'm done conquering.
Yeah, we're just insatiable. Man, this has really held a mirror up to myself.
Yeah. No, they suck.
Tough. This is tough. Hey, what's wrong with Debbie?
Oh, a lot of things.
So I really feel bad for Debbie.
No, yeah,
this is
totally.
tough. You know, this episode did make me really kind of think about like how she's got no one to talk to.
Oh, yeah.
Other than Mark.
And that's her son.
Who's
so that
gone
feels
to
like,
college now?
Right. He's gone to college and he's got to live his life. And it's very tough. I think everyone can relate to, you know, as you get older, you're constantly like becoming more aware of what your parents have gone through and what age they were at, but they're always ahead of you, and it's like you'll never get that equality where you can sit down and have that conversation as complete equals.
But you can remember when they were your age, and
Yes.
have that interesting moment of like, oh, that weight they carried. And
Yes.
I see that a
Yeah.
lot with Debbie
Yeah.
is like,
Right.
she can't really lean on Mark because that would be not parenting. But also he sees that she needs help and he can't do it.
And she, you know, Mark involuntarily was born into this family,
Right.
and loves his father. It was imprinted on him, like he can't help but love his father.
Right.
But Debbie was ultimately betrayed.
Yeah.
And can very easily not love this man anymore.
Yeah.
She does still have
Just
feelings
got his
for him.
And she chose him, every day. You know, got
Yeah, yeah,
married, and
yeah.
she chose that life.
Yeah, and it's easier for her to cut him off, but also very hard because that was like the love of her life.
Yeah.
Right.
The father of her child that she loves, and when she looks at her child, all she can see is omni.
Oh, that line when she was talking about how, you know, she wishes he was dead so that she could actually grieve and move on. I
Yeah.
was like, oh,
Yeah.
oh
Yeah.
God, that's
brutal.
so tough.
That's
so
it. She has to be
brutal.
afraid he's gonna come back.
Yeah, he could come back
just-
and just start it all over again. There's no guarantee that she.
And
can
now
even-
she knows his strength. I mean, she's always known his strength, but she knows his violence.
what he's
and
capable.
like, yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
The level of it.
She got to sleep with one eye open the rest of her life,
Yeah,
and,
yeah.
and she's got to be worried about her son, who he almost killed.
Right.
Yeah, I'm really glad that they're spending a lot of time with her and this
Mm-hmm.
part of the story because we don't usually get that in any of this stuff. And I think that's a real missed opportunity in a lot of things. Even like that shortly lived like damage control show. That
Yeah.
I was like, hey, I know it's gonna be a comedy, but maybe they'll focus on some of it.
Well, that's why I love the Vulture's origin, because he's like a
yeah.
down on his luck guy
Yeah.
that is a vulture of the remnants and the
Yep.
scraps got left behind because of how
And being
destructive
used by-
Avengers
yeah.
are.
That was
and
a
that
really great origin.
actually shows the like destruction, and then they'll be like, and then 7 people died. What a catastrophe! And it's like millions would have
Yeah,
died. Like, they always like
millions.
the numbers always like, and 52 people were mildly
That's my
harmed.
favorite.
Unless they
It's
go
like-
with the
they're
intercom,
like-
but they're like, good thing the city was evacuated. It's like,
Yeah.
okay.
Like Sokovia crashed
okay.
back into the planet. They're like,
112
11 people got black eyes.
Yeah, exactly.
That's my favorite.
It was all Baron Zemo's family. And that's it.
That's my
Yeah,
favorite.
yeah, that's it. But like, I do like that this deals with like trauma and,
Yeah.
violence and the way there's ramifications. I think Amazon does a more realistic commentary on superhero culture versus being superhero culture.
Right.
I think that's why they went with, you know, the dog being not science dog but science dog. It's a commentary. But I think Invincible and The Boys and Gen V are all circled around, hey, you know, if they were real, wouldn't be great. Like it's much
Yeah,
more
yeah.
like
Be
like
problem.
this is
Yeah.
not a good, but it's also not aping. Like Superman is what if gods were above us, and he's supposed to be a character of reverence, which is why it's so unfortunate that like Jacob, what's that actor, that pretty boy that's everywhere right now, Jacob Elordi?
Elordi?
Yeah, and that
The
quote,
new Elvis?
Yeah, that quote that he was like, yeah, it's too dark for me. I'm like, yeah, because you're 26 or whatever. You've only known gloomy, angry, red-eyed
Exactly.
Superman that isn't Superman. So
Right.
we need characters like Omni-Man. We need characters like, you know, Homelander that are supposed to be the commentary on Superman. We need Superman to be Superman again because we need these commentary properties to show us that it wouldn't be good to have them amongst
That's
us.
why Superman's so amazing. Exactly.
Right.
Yeah.
He's an aspirational figure you can never live up to, and he wants to be like us, and we want to be like him.
Yep.
Whereas like Homelander and shows like Invincible show us, we don't want them walking around. Like that would not be a thing. Trauma would be constant, and fear would be a baseline.
Yeah.
Right.
And Mark, you know, and that's what Mark wants to be, right? Because he even felt bad when like the Maulers, all those Maulers from other dimensions died, and they were like, "You don't gotta carry the Maulers." He's like, "No, they don't deserve that.
Yeah.
Like no one deserves that." It's that idea of like, if we want to be a better society, no one deserves death, no matter what they do. It's aiming to be better and aiming to be a more altruistic. But yeah, Amazon really is kind of like telling these very extreme stories. You know, with our culture now, where like so much of our pop culture is ruled by like superhero stories, like looking at them in a different way and like really getting into it and seeing more of Debbie. You know, she reminds me a lot of, you know, Skylar on Breaking Bad. Where it's like, people really hated that character, but she was right all the time.
She was.
And it's like, hey, we want to see Walter White make drugs, and it's like, no,
he's making drugs.
Yeah, that's the problem. Yeah.
But I do think that certain elements of the MCU would be stronger with it, but I also think if it became too much that it would weaken it. Like, I think that's why I want, you know, Daredevil to be darker, because that makes other characters lighter. And I think I want, you know, Punisher to be R-rated, because that shows that, you know, it's not good to shoot people. Like, I think that you need those characters to have that balance. Yeah, and I think that's why I'm personally excited for James Gunn's more disparate DC EU. Yeah. Like, I think everything won't directly connect, and that'll allow more versatility in those flavors. I think that is going to be a little bit more akin to what Amazon's doing, but not all like what Amazon's doing. And I think that's going to be a stronger, you know, I think that'll make Marvel stronger, DC stronger, vice versa. But I hope Amazon gets some credit, because they're really strengthening the overall genre by making stuff like this. And I do think that, speaking of Marvel and DC, again, I think I'm wearing this shirt for a reason, and maybe that would be the cliffhanger in episode 4. I don't know how, but perhaps multi-dimensional travel and a certain character getting an Amazon show might allow for a certain cameo for a certain character, a lot like Mark Grayson.
That's a lot of that's a lot
of
there.
Certainly could happen.
That's a lot of.
I'm not saying there's
brutal. Also brutal.
Brutal.
Ooh, man.
Do you think that Olga set Debbie up here?
Oh
I still
my
don't trust
God.
Olga at all. This was like,
I like how you're
not giving her heads up.
She had to, because she knew everything about Debbie, and she still sent her there knowing that people would hate. Unless she was really like, you're just gonna stick to the rules, right? She's like, come on, Debbie, just stick to the rules. Don't tell anybody.
But like, knowing that there are people there whose spouses were killed by
directly
omni-man.
killed.
Yeah. That was just dangerous.
I
don't trust Olga at all.
I was already worried she was giving away too much info. Where she's like, "Yeah, we'd fly to Paris for lunch."
I'm like, don't.
Yeah, that's already too much. Like, how many other heroes could do that?
Yeah, someone doing the math. Like,
yeah, exactly.
Right.
And then she just straight up was like, "Oh, by the way, my husband is a reason
she
for
wants
all of this."
and she's carrying so much guilt. She, you know,
so
her husband Nolan is, you know, killed and like buried. Cecil is like, oh, you make a lot of money off his books. Now it's like, she probably doesn't want that.
No.
She wants to just like move on, but she can't move on. They still live in the same house. I don't know why she's not moving out.
Yeah,
that's wild.
You need to move, even if it's downsizing. You need to get out of that place.
Just stop seeing that
Also,
space.
that one drawer's broken. Like, you don't need the whole house. Just move.
Get the wine out of there.
There's better
stop buying
drawers
bottles
and
of
cabinets
wine.
at other places.
in other towns.
Yes. Just
Now
go.
your kid's in college. You're not tied there. Go.
Yeah, just go.
Well, as we wrap things up here today, it's time to play our little game. We know Invincible is physically invincible, but in this week's episode, who was the most emotionally invincible? Because that's where the real damage is done on this show, on your emotions. Who do you think was the most emotionally invincible character in this episode? Episode 3 of season 2. What do you got?
Alan.
Alan?
Oh.
Not only did he look back and acknowledge that's what he had to do, he's a man of honor, but he knew going out there might cause that, and he's always like ensuring he's doing the right thing. Like he's got the emotional bandwidth to know there's cause and effect. He's got the heart to be tenacious, and he's on the right side of things.
Yeah.
Even though he made a mistake, he jokingly disowns it, but even he knows, like, he saved the universe, but there's more work to be done.
Right.
Emotionally
he's
thorough.
What a guy.
He's been through the work. He's done the therapy.
He's done the therapy. Yeah, because like he could have very easily given those Viltrumites what they wanted, and they would have flown away. And it was like, they're gonna deal
or
with the
very
problem.
easily not been accountable about a number of things. Like joking about things is like him acknowledging. I think he's got his head on
Alan
straight.
is who Mark wants to be, that kind of a hero. You know,
Which is why I
who'll
think
just
that
be like, I'm just gonna sacrifice myself. Exactly. Well, I'm gonna go close to that. I'm gonna say it's Thetis. Optimus Prime. He to kill after watching this whole episode, to still try to kill Alan, and be like, I'm sorry, Alan, and then to turn that off and try to. I'm like, dude, that's cold-blooded. He's the coolest, greatest guy in the show, and you still want to take him out. And also to think that, I mean, if a Viltrumite Juno chop and punch you in the chest is not going to do it, turning off his life support's not going to do shit. But he definitely has got to be the coldest mofo on that show, right?
Yeah, pretty cold. I'm going to give props to Amber this week. You know,
nice.
She laid with her man.
Not knowing if it would be, that dangerous for her.
Yeah,
True. She asked all the
She
questions.
was the bravest
She
person
dropped
in the
that
show, for
kryptonite
sure.
condom question.
Yeah, I don't know if she watched Mallrats.
Very important question.
Before hooking up.
Yeah.
Very
or
risky.
Scary Movie
Very
2. When
risky.
she
Man,
on the
you never
radio.
know.
Very risky. I guess I hadn't realized they hadn't gone all the way.
I know.
Same.
I was like,
same.
oh, okay.
A lot
But then,
happened this episode.
But then he's like, hey, I'm gonna have to go away to another planet, and she's like, that's cool.
That's true.
Yeah, she's like, I know what I
she knew what
signed
she
up for.
signed up for. Yeah.
Yeah.
Very mature.
Very Mary Jane of her. We love to see it. I hope it all works out well for Amber, and she stays safe. Well, that's it for us today. A big thank you to Eric Owusu for writing today's episode.
Hell yeah.
Make sure to subscribe to the Breakroom channel right here on YouTube, and give us a follow on Twitch, where we go live every weekday at 3 p.m. for more videos like this. And again, if you want us to keep covering the show, let us know in the comments and let us know what else you're watching, and maybe we'll cover that too. Thank you for joining us this week. Everyone have a great day. And we'll catch you next time. Goodbye.